GM, good morning. Happy day. What is it? Tuesday, at least here in the U.S. Okay, welcome to the show. I don't think I have any announcements. So I think I'm going to go over some Twitter stuff, and then I'll bring guests on after that. So let's get into it. This is a video clip. I couldn't find what date it's from, but it's from Hillary Clinton. And if you don't like her, just tolerate her and look past it to hear her words. Remember, oh wait, I gotta change my settings. Hang on. I have these weird ass speakers, and if I don't have it on the right setting, I can't hear the sound. All right, here we go.
Israel left Gaza. They took out all the Israelis. Remember, Israel left Gaza. They took out all the Israelis. They turned the keys over to the Palestinian people. And what happened? Hamas took over Gaza. So instead of having a thriving economy with the kind of opportunities that the children of the Palestinians deserve, we have a terrorist haven that is getting more and more rockets shipped in from Iran and elsewhere.
You see that? That's caring about the children too, by the way. All the people that want to try to use children. Okay, is this the thread? Yeah, I think this is it's kind of a long thread, but oh wait, no, different. Hang on. No, it's another thread. Okay, anyway. I would formalize the argument like this. The right to national self-determination is a historically contingent right. It's a product of modernity and rests upon a whole slew of modern presuppositions concerning relations between self, nation, and state. The presupposition of chief concern here is that all modern nations have a right to statehood. If a nation rejects the presuppositions of modernity, for example, by rejecting national self-determination in other modern states, and more generally by adhering to an imperialistic Bronze Age ethos, that's interesting that Israel is being painted as the imperialist, but you could easily say the same thing about the Palestinians or the Arabs in that area, with the Bronze Age ethos, which is also imperialistic. Then that nation is not a modern nation and can therefore make no legitimate appeal to modern conceptions of national rights, such as the right to self-determination. So if the Arabs or the Palestinians, whatever, want a state and a self-determination, they have to enter the modern world and grant the same thing to Israel. Here's Rufo. Many on the academic left treat the Hamas fighter as a noble savage who symbolizes revolt against the West and through whom the academic can experience the thrill of violence. The fighter is seen as the physical embodiment of the jargon decolonization, resistance, power. That's kind of what we've been hearing from the left and kind of what we've been saying in response. I just like the way he words it. Oh, this is an interesting graph. If you think that the ideological attitudes that underlie such thinking are bad just for Israel, you've got another thing coming to you. Okay, look at this chart. Do you think the Hamas killing of 1,200 Israeli civilians on Israel can be justified by the grievances of Palestinians, or is it not justified? Can be justified is blue, not is red. So 3/4 think no, and we have a quarter that yes, it can be justified. But when you look at the ages, 51% of people 18 to 24, that's the majority, think that it can be justified. 25 to 34, 48% thinks that it can be justified. This is the age range of most of the people that I've been talking to about this and watching on YouTube. Then as you get older into my generation, which is about here, 23%, 11, 9. And I've questioned several times on the stream whether it could be a generational thing, because it's just so odd to me that many people would see Gaza as the hero in this and think that the terrorism we saw on October 7th was justified. All right. Oh, hang on. Shit. From Zarathustra Serpa, the two-state solution is what Israel offers and the Palestinians reject. I have yet to encounter even one Palestinian who accepts the right of the Jewish nation to sovereignty. And he is an Israeli and he lives in Israel. So he probably gets a chance to talk to many Palestinians. All right, I think this is the thread I wanted to take my time and go through. No, I guess it's not. Characterizing sovereign Jewish presence in the Levant as European settler colonialism isn't. Let me start over. Characterizing sovereign Jewish presence in the Levant as European settler colonialism is an anti-Semitic smear that erases Jewish national identity, which has always been connected to the land, even in diaspora, even during the exile. Their identity has been connected to that land, and also ignores the existence of Mizrahi and Ethiopian Jews. So there. Why don't Palestinians come out against terrorism? Well, aside from the cultural acceptance of terrorism as a celebrated form of behavior ingrained in them since childhood, and we've seen some of the children's shows, each Palestinian terrorist family gets paid handsomely. This is something I did not know, but I did look it up. There's several articles on it. It appears to be true. The Palestinian families of the October 7th terrorists who were killed will receive $2,789,430 in total this month. The terrorists who were captured by Israel will be paid at least $17,590 in total this month. The program is run by the Palestinian Authority, by Mahmoud Abbas, to whom Biden sends American taxpayer money. Melissa Chin, the conflict weighs heavily on me. I have Jewish friends, Muslim friends, deep affinity for Israel and Arab culture, but let's be clear about some things. Anti-Israel and pro-Palestine demonstrations erupted around the world before Israel responded. So Israel got attacked, the protests start, then Israel responds. Let's recap the sequence of events. Palestinian militants wake up in the morning and decide to go and murder Israeli civilians, take hostages, and declare their intent to destroy Israel, which was pretty much already declared in their charter. Demonstrations erupt around the world supporting Palestine and condemning Israel. Then Israel responds to this threat. So all of the criticism of Israel's response, they were already protesting and supporting Palestine before Israel even responded. She says, go back over it again in case there is any ambiguity. There is no moral gray area to inhabit here, no fog of war that one can hide behind. Look at this. Reproductive justice means free Palestine. See how the left, see how they do? They try to tie, I guess that's intersectionality. All the causes intersect because you're fighting the same oppressor, except the oppressor changes depending on who's at the bottom of the oppressor pyramid. Here's another example. Black lesbian films. This is an email that's going out to college students, inviting to the black lesbian films. It's free Palestine over here. Zionist art invited. So now to watch black lesbian films, you have to have the right position on what's going on in the Middle East. This is the thread I wanted to go over in detail. It's from King Crocker He's Jewish. The root of the conflict is not Israeli aggression, but Palestinian national identity. It's kind of a long thread, but I want to go through it because I think it's worth it. The fact that Palestinian national identity is, in its current constitution, inherently terroristic and genocidal, as evidenced by the reactions of Palestinians to the October pogrom, the state-sanctioned pay-to-slave program, the national self-definition in reactionary terms, which violently denies the right of Jewish national sovereignty in the homeland of the Jewish nation, as opposed to a positive conception of Palestinian nationhood, etc. So these are three markers he uses to justify calling it inherently terroristic and genocidal. The reactions to October 7th on the part of the Palestinians, which I've seen too. I've seen pictures of the rallies. The state-sanctioned pay-to-slave program, which we just saw the tweet about the terrorists that are getting paid, the terrorist families that are getting paid, and the national self-definition in reactionary terms, which violently denies the right of Jewish national sovereignty, which is the Hamas Charter, which explicitly calls, and we've gone through a few tweets of those. There was one tweet that pulled out some specific articles in the charter that we went over, and about not wanting Israel in the land at all, like removing all of the Jews in that entire area. So those are at least three markers that justify Palestinian national identity as inherently terroristic and genocidal. Okay. Has more explanatory power than claims about Israel's aggressive implementation of security and deterrence in response to Palestine's national aggression. Because on here, every criticism of Israel and attempt to paint them as the aggressor, every time so Palestinians aggress, Israel defends, and then that act of defense on the part of Israel gets painted as the act of aggression. The Palestinian aggression gets minimized or justified, and then they get painted as the recipient of Israeli aggression. Case in point, the blockade in Gaza could have been lifted had Hamas, which in addition to institutionalizing terrorism, has institutionalized necrophilia, both in literal practice and in the metaphorical, we love death more than Israel loves life sense, which I have heard that phrase. I'm not sure about the literal institution of necrophilia, so I really can't address that part of the tweet. Had Hamas simply agreed to the three conditions for lifting the blockade, ratify the previously agreed upon Oslo Accords, renounce terrorism, and recognize Israel's right to exist. This is the very reasonable ask of Israel, or requirements rather, to have the blockade removed. This is all Gaza has to do. Ratify the Oslo Accords, renounce terrorism, recognize Israel's right to exist. Hamas's refusal to do so is in keeping with the thesis that the Palestinian national identity is inherently terroristic and genocidal, to the point where the nation is prepared to accept siege-like conditions rather than give up on its genocidal ambitions or terroristic tactics. Dissidents to this view might counter that the West Bank's apparent willingness to at least accept Israel's right to exist indicates that the Palestinian national identity is at the very least divided on the question of genocide. And I'm willing to grant that that's at least a debatable position. It's the position I've held from the start, because I've been focusing on Gaza. I've been saying on here that I'm not including the West Bank. I don't know enough about what's going on in the West Bank. My focus is on Gaza and Hamas. Joshua Jones was on here the other day saying, no, there is now currently unrest in the West Bank as well, and they're going to get pulled into it. But I agree with Crocoduck that at least it's a debatable position, whether West Bank's apparent willingness to accept Israel's right to exist mitigates the issue for them on the question of Jewish genocide. What's not debatable, as evidenced by Palestine's national heroes, Yasser Arafat, Jerusalem's pre-1948 Grand Mufti, national martyrs, etc., its glorification of terror activity through the aforementioned pay-to-slay system, the passing out of candy in the streets following terror attacks, which I hadn't heard about, and pretty much the entire political history of the Palestinian nation is that terrorism is inherent both to Fatah in the West Bank, and Hamas in Gaza. Moreover, we have no reason to believe that these features of Palestinian national identity, genocidal ideation and terrorism, are at all attenuated by a reduction in Israel's aggressive security measures. To the contrary, every time Israel has given any kind of ground, whether literal, as when it vacated the Israeli settlements in Gaza in 2005, or more figuratively, as when it recently granted work visas to Gazan citizens that allowed them to enter and exit Israel, it has always, always, always been rewarded with more terrorism, more Jewish blood in the streets, more candies being passed around to Palestinian citizens. If you contest this, then please identify one instance in which Israel's extension of an olive branch was not followed by a venomous snakebite. You can't, because it never happened, and until Palestinian national identity fundamentally changes, it never will. So I invite any leftist or anyone really, either that we've been talking to or a new person, to come on and accept his challenge and identify one instance in which Israel's extension of peace was not followed by aggression on the part of the Palestinians. He's claiming you can't. I'm open to having that challenged. The left in America has really let us down. Many liberal Jews who supported the Palestinian cause feel abandoned after the lack of outrage expressed by some erstwhile allies over the Hamas massacre of Israelis. This is the LA Times. This is what people were telling me less than a week ago was not happening. I said the Jewish people on the left are starting to wake up and get disillusioned, and they said, nah, it's not happening. I hang out with Jewish people on the left. They're not having any problem at all. I've shared at least 5 or 6 tweets saying the same thing. Here's an article from the LA Times saying the same things. I'm just saying, stop the gaslighting. All right, those are all the tweets I have to go over. Oh, I didn't put the link. My bad. I thought I was very diligent about that. Let me get the link up. Yeah, I was wondering where you were. All right, here it comes. The easiest thing to do is to message me on Discord because I get the notification from that. I'm not always looking at the comments. All right, there is the link. Now guest can come on. And we don't have to talk about Israel. In fact, I've been referring people to that video. And if there's anything outside of that video you want to talk about or add to it, we can do that. But otherwise, the video pretty much encapsulates everything we've been going back and forth about for the last 2 weeks. All right, let me put my banner on. Okay, there it is. Here, I'll repost the link to the video as well. It's Zarathustra's serpent, debunking a lot of the myths around Israel, using Kyle Kalinske as an example. And he also ties it into bigotry. Okay, maybe we'll get Chris on here soon. In the meantime, let me oh, breaking. Hamas reliably report. Oh, I don't care. When I hear Hamas reports, I tune it out. Russia supposedly just reported that Putin had a heart attack. Like last night, I went to bed thinking, oh my God, is Putin dead? And then I woke up this morning and apparently it's misinformation. Okay. Yeah, that's about all the tweets I have for today. I was watching the Crucible earlier before coming on here, and oh, hang on. There's Chris. Hello. In the dark.
Hey. Can you hear me? I don't know if this laptop works like this or not. I'm just trying to test it out.
We can hear you, but you're hard to see. You're just a vague shadow.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the light.
The audio's fine though.
I got the bad echo now too.
It's got to be on your end.
Echo's bad. Okay, hold on. It's on my end.
Oh.
I don't have any headphones in this thing.
Oh. Sometimes if you lower your volume, it reduces the echo. Well, can you at least hear me?
Trying. Hear you fine.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'm gonna just talk. I was saying that I was.
I hear you fine.
Okay. I was watching Andrew on the Crucible earlier. Apparently, there's whole live stream TikTok network and you can just go to TikTok, and they have people streaming constantly, and like you can drop in on, and go on their streams. And I really don't want to make a TikTok account, and I really don't know if I want to get involved in TikTok, but it's way larger than what's happening on YouTube. And Andrew goes and like stream bombs different. You just browse. It's infinite. You just browse through all the people that are live currently, and you can drop in on their streams, and they're chatting about everything under the sun: politics, culture. And so he goes and he drops it on their streams and debates and argues with them, and he does his Andrew thing, and then he streams it to his YouTube show. So I was intrigued by the robustness of the streaming community on TikTok. But I kind of like our little YouTube corner, and even if it's kind of a little village right now. But I'm not opposed. Like, if some people want to try it, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just not that inspired or motivated to dip my foot into TikTok. I'm assuming Chris is having computer trouble, so he'll be back whenever. So in the meantime, as usual, anybody wants to come on to talk. I don't really have much to catch up on. My Bible reading is going very slow because I have so many other distractions. And tonight we're almost finished with True Detective. Saturday we're gonna watch, what's that movie called? World Without End. The World's End movie. Apocalyptic science fiction comedy from 2013. And Chris said it's really good, and some of the themes are individualism versus collectivism. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That will be at Saturday at 5 p.m. Central, and then we're going to have our discussion afterwards. But in addition to that, that's when Joshua Jones is going to come on, and we're going to analyze his love life and marriage and psyche and everything, and see how he makes it out of that. And Emerald will be here to help us with that. So that's what's coming up on the show. Last night, why can't I talk today? Anton and I did our first sex and social justice episode, and it was this black lady who was a spankee, and she had this idea that nobody was approaching her at these kink parties to spank her because that her bottom couldn't turn red. It was because of her skin color, and that spankers wanted a red bottom. That was like the heart of their fetish. And because she couldn't give them a red bottom, she was being left out of finding spanking partners. And then, like, later on in the blog, she had a whole article on BLM and resistance and stuff. So it wasn't just it's not that an experience happened in the spanking community and then she's trying to make sense of it. It's that she uses the lens of wokeness to look through everything. So whatever happened in the spanking community is going to get resolved into wokeness and critical race theory. Whatever happens to her at the grocery store, whatever happens to her online, she's using a lens that distort. And I guess we all do that. Like, are any of us looking at reality 100% clearly? We're all using some kind of paradigm, whether it's scientific enlightenment, rationalism, objectivity. There's a subjective, even if it's our past experiences, our unique brain makeup, there's still these subjective biases to everything we perceive. But to look at it through an ideological lens, kind of, it's like a pre-made filter that takes shortcuts for you and arranges things in a certain way, and you don't have to use your own critical faculties to, like, it gives you less of a role in putting together a picture of reality and making sense of it on your own. And it just kind of offers you this pre-made view of reality. And like, I think it's you get lazy doing that. If everything's racism, you don't have to think and analyze any individual incident. You can just resolve it all into racism. What shirt is that?
Yeah, I put this on in honor of my friend Jeff. You today. I found this in the storage unit. It's a
Is it
old
Satan?
Obey shirt. It has like a Satanist type thing to it.
Oh, let me try to blow it up.
Here, let me hit the mirror thing so you can read it better. Hold on. There we go.
Obey who?
Obey. Yeah, Obey propaganda. It was like that company that Shepard Fairey started a long time ago, but it's got like this like it's the closest thing I have. I actually have several shirts that are kind of like quasi Satanist. There's this label that I used to buy a bunch of stuff from called Black Scale, and a lot of their stuff is like got pentagrams and stuff like hidden in it.
Oh, cool.
It's like dumb like quasi occultist wear or something like that. I just think it's funny.
That's so. What's new? What's going on today?
Oh, nothing. I was trying to get my medications from Walmart earlier, and it's like there's a bunch of confusion there. But I got my main meds, so I'm not really too upset about it. Just trying to get the Celexa. But
what's the holdup at Walmart?
oh, my doctor sent the prescription to the wrong place, and that's why I tried to have it transferred to them because Walmart's like literally about 10% of the price of the pharmacy they sent it to. It's like $4 at Walmart and $40 at the other place.
Oh,
and I don't even have 40 anyway. So I was just trying to get transferred to Walmart. When they called that pharmacy, they said they didn't see it, and so I had to go call the doctor and all this stuff. I was at Walmart for like 3 hours waiting, and finally I was like, shit, it's got to get back. And then we went to the storage unit too, because I was trying to dig up the other laptop, because occasionally Lindsay says like, she'd like to jump on a stream here and there, and I was like, okay, that's cool. We just need a second laptop or something, which I have. I had them in the storage unit, but they're just kind of old and beat up, and they're not up to. I need to clean them up and everything, get them working. Like the keyboard wasn't working on it. The camera's super dark. But I have another external camera like this one I can attach to it, but I just didn't have time to get it all set up. I was just trying to see if it could stream at all with like the internal mic and stuff like that, but it all sounds.
Yeah, the mic worked fine. It was the camera quality and the.
Well, yeah, but without the headphones, it was
echo.
creating this awful echo. Even with I had the YouTube tab closed and everything, and it was echoing really bad. So anyway, but yeah, it's all right. I have some earbuds right here she could probably use. I didn't even think about that. Anyway. Yeah, I'm just trying to get this stuff done. I've been calling ENTs all morning, trying to find an ENT that could possibly see me, like someone that has a decent cash pay option. Since I didn't have to pay to go see my doctor yesterday, I thought maybe I can use that money to find an ENT that might be similar. But every ENT I call is like, it's $300 minimum for the first visit, and shit like that. So,
do you tell them you don't have any insurance? And
yeah, that's the cash pay price. I mean,
because I used to do that too when I didn't have insurance, and they usually cut me a really good deal.
And that's what my other doctor was doing. I didn't have to pay him anything because I had a credit, I guess, which I didn't know that before I was there to pay. But so I didn't pay them anything. So I was like, well, great. So I have this little bit extra money. Maybe I can use that to find an ENT. Because if they've lowered their price, because their cash price used to be like $150, but they lowered it down to $58 here recently. So I thought, well, maybe there's ENTs around, but I haven't even been able to find one that even has an appointment open until December, and let alone like if I went to the appointment, they want you to pay cash upfront before the appointment. And it's like the lowest one I found was $175. So, yeah. So but there's like literally like there's hundreds of ENT clinics in the DFW area. So going through and trying to call every single one of them, it just takes a long time. I mean, I did this game before a long time ago, but the prices were higher back then. They have come down some, people, but I don't know. I need to see if I can just get a doctor to like, at least diagnose. I'm thinking like I was looking last night and I saw that and I've looked at it before, but for some reason I swear I didn't think my symptoms matched up to it this well before. But you heard of Meniere's disease?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was looking at this, I was looking at a bunch of documentation on it last night, and like my symptoms like line up with it like 1-to-1. There's a few things like that are included in like possible symptoms that I don't have, but again, a couple things I do have that it's not on there. But I think if I could get an official diagnosis for that, even though there's no medication or treatment for it, it might at least help me get the disability. But there's a medication that's being tested right now for the FDA that should be out, in the next 5 years, I guess. But supposedly that can treat Meniere's disease and those vertigo symptoms that it has. So if I can get a disability for a little while, like they might actually have a medication the next year or so that might just get rid of the vertigo. So I'm
the doctor at the hospital couldn't help you with that?
Nope. They
Why?
every single doctor I've been to about the vertigo, they say, well, you need to see either need to see a neurologist or an ENT. I saw a neurologist.
But
ages
can't they
ago.
refer you to one in the hospital?
That's what I would think, but apparently, and that's what I have. I have an appointment to see that hospital
Oh.
ENT in January. And I'm just trying to find somebody I can see sooner because I have my hearing, I have a judge hearing for the disability thing on January 11th or something like that. And I was trying, but my ENT appointment isn't till after like the 28th. So I was trying to find some ENT I could go to at least get a diagnosis or something, so I could take that to the judge hearing, But
Do you have a lawyer that you're working with for your hearing?
yeah, but a disability lawyer. But they supposedly at the end of this month they're supposed to call me and set up something so I can some consultation with them that will explain everything I need to do for this hearing or something like that to help me. Because they told us, like, whenever Lindsay got her second rejection, they called us and told us specifically, like, not to worry about it. Like, they said that disability hasn't been approving anybody without 2 rejections, at least like very, very rare cases. And maybe in rare cases where someone is like physically disabled, like they literally like they lose their legs or something like that, and like, or someone who just require like very high payouts or something like that, they might approve them. But pretty much anybody with a decent sized disability claim, like Lindsay does, they said that everyone's getting rejected the first 2 times. They're just like extending the process way out because there's so many applicants. So I guess they're trying to weed people out like that. So they said pretty much they told us that 95% of everybody that goes before a judge for a hearing usually gets approved. So, but I don't know about mine because I don't really have much in the way of documentation beyond the fact that, like, I complained of it and it's out there on record, but there's nothing that shows there's anything. But there's no way to show vertigo. Vertigo doesn't show up on anything. It's not like I even asked, like, if I have some sort of vertigo thing and I get an MRI, is that going to show up my brain scan? They said, well, there's something wrong with your brain, but if it's inner ear stuff, no. I'm like, so why are we doing this? Just to make sure there's nothing wrong with my brain, I guess. But I don't know.
They're going to find reasons to deny, and if you don't have enough to counter that, you're not going to make it. And my lawyer told me that it's better if I drop the case than get denied, because that's going to make it harder to get in the future if I already have a denial on my record. So that's why I didn't go through with my hearing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm supposedly they're at the end of October they're supposed to talk to me about that, and that's one of the options that has to be discussed. But if I can get a diagnosis, I don't know if Meniere's disease is considered eligible for disability. And if it's not, then I guess I'll just cancel the hearing. But I don't know. I mean, like, I can't work, and if I'm gonna try to, like, I got further with the peer counseling thing, for example, and I was looking, and I finally talked to somebody, and they directed me to this page for financial assistance, and I started filling everything out. And then as I was going through it, I suddenly noticed that it said that this financial assistance only applies to people who have already done the initial training. The initial training costs $250 or $299, period. So
there's probably ways to get that subsidized.
That's what I was trying to find, and I put a call in to see if, like, somebody called me back to talk to me about that, but no one's called yet. But yeah, but on their financial assistance page for PeerForce, there's nothing about any kind of assistance or subsidy for the initial training. It's like, pretty much if you get past the initial training, like, they seem to, like, be pretty positive, like, you'll get covered on the stage 2 and 3 training things, but you kind of have to. And I don't necessarily
You
even
need
think
to
this
find
is
a peer-run organization in your area
Okay.
that like a community center or
Community type
something
thing.
run by
Okay.
peers that can direct you how to get all that subsidized, and they might
Okay.
even offer it themselves. But
Yeah,
that's what you do is talk to other peers that have gone through it and find out how they got subsidized.
I'll do a search for that. I'm not sure how to look for it, but I'll figure it out. I mean, I'm pretty good at finding things on the internet usually when I have to. It's always bizarre to me how I can do a search 1 month and like spend hours and even days researching one subject and find something or whatever, and then not find a whole bunch of stuff that I find like by doing the exact same search a month later. And it's not like the pages are new. Like I'll find pages that have been there for years, but they didn't come up in previous searches. It's not like I just searched the first page of Google. You know, I go through DuckDuckGo and Google and Bing. I use different search engines, and I go pretty deep into the search results usually. And then just sometimes when you search, you'll just get different things and we get other things. And I even tried contacts like 211 and stuff like that for information, and like there's just no. They didn't even. I asked them about the peer counseling thing, and they were like, I don't know how to help you with that. So I was like, okay. Well.
In my experience, people outside of the peer community rarely know anything. That's why if you talk to people from within the peer community, they're the people that figure out all the.
Yeah, I'm sure. I thought Peer Force was kind of the thing for that because it seemed like that's what they were. Like it was like because it's a Texas based like thing to help people get the peer counseling training and everything like that. But and like when that person calls me back, and I'm sure, and it just took them like a week before, so it doesn't really surprise me that they haven't called me back yet. But when they call me back, they might put me to those. Put me in touch with those same kind of things. So, I mean, I'm not that discouraged by it. I just don't have a way forward at the moment. See, peer services, Mental Health America, maybe. Just looking around here, see what I see. Anyway, but yeah, what tweets were you going over? I didn't get to see much of it because I was trying to get the damn thing set up.
Some more Israel tweet. I had a few more related to Israel.
Yeah. Anybody have any interesting points that haven't been made already?
Yeah, I mean it's reinforcing the same stuff we've already been saying, but in very
well, you have to go back over it. I just didn't know there was anything really interesting to.
I didn't know this though, that the Palestinian Liberation Authority, whatever, has a program where they pay the therapists. Like the terrorists who carried out the Israel attack are going to get like $1 million something. The ones
For
that
what?
the families and the ones that Israel took as hostages are going to get $17,000 or something. So there's financial incentives for the terrorists.
Wow, that's something.
They call it pay to slay.
That's insane. I never heard of that shit before. That's for sure.
But I looked into it. There were several articles on it that looked legitimate, so it seemed like a real thing.
Yeah, that sounds really. It's just disturbing. I can't believe it's that. And people don't think there's anything wrong with that. They're just like
I've been saying this over and over. They refuse to see Palestine as it actually is. They're projecting this innocence onto them that is not justified by their charter, their behavior, their values, their children's shows, their programs, and none of that. They're like dismissing all of that to see them as these innocent, oppressed brown people out in the desert.
Well, the way I see it, that's fine. You can have the perspective that, especially the children, the underage people that are there, the 14-year-olds and such. If you want to have that perspective that those people are innocent, stuff like that, that's fine. But blaming Israel and their attacks on Gaza for those deaths is bullshit. The people that need to be blamed for those deaths is Hamas and the people that cause. Yes, those kids are innocent. If they're not innocent, they're only not innocent because they've been brainwashed by fucking like horrific children's shows that are designed to indoctrinate them into a murderous ideology. So if you really, really do feel bad for them, then the thing you should be supporting more than anything is the destruction of Hamas and all of these anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish organizations that are dead set on trying to wipe the Jews out from the river to the sea, as they say. I mean, I didn't even realize it was like that. That was that Zarathustra serpent video. I didn't know what from the river to sea meant until just this last couple of weeks or something. I never heard that phrase really. And he was showing, I don't know how old that video is, a couple of years, right? And he was showing footage of people in this country chanting that like it was nothing. Like they, and like it made, I had no idea. I still have no idea whether or not they knew what it meant.
The anti-Semitism on the left is not a new thing.
I know it's not a new thing, but it does make me wonder if they realized that. It made me wonder if they understood that that was a specifically an anti-Semitic message, or if they were just following whoever was leading the chant, who was doing it anti-Semitically. To be fair, it was being led by Palestinian Americans that were pushing this. Just like what's her name, Ilhan Omar and shit, people like that.
They do this with, I don't understand the left. They do this with the pedophilia thing too, and the queer theory. They'll stand right next to something and disavow it as they stand right next to it. Like, I try to get myself as far away from terrorism as possible. I don't even want to be mistaken for being anywhere near them. So if the terrorists are here, I'm going to put myself way over here. If the pedophiles are here, I'm going way over here. They'll stand right next to the pedophiles and right next to the terrorists and condemn them, how horrible they are, but they won't condemn anything within an inch around them. And then they'll swear up and down how they're not supporting of terrorists, they're not supporting of pedophilia.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things too in a lot of cases, but especially with the people that are actually ideologically indoctrinated or not just following some leader because they think it gives them brownie points. I think with those people, they condemn this terrorism, wink, wink kind of thing. Yeah, we totally condemn the terrorism. It's like that kind of shit. Like, they don't really condemn it. They actually seem to be quite supportive of it. It's just that, it's not cool to say out loud that you're totally the same way you see, like, like as they say, crypto Nazi types, right? People who are all for like Nazism or something like that. But, they claim that they don't support it out loud. But but they do the little like wink wink kind of thing, and I usually find that kind of stuff pretty iffy because I don't see a lot of those people claim to be crypto fascists and stuff actually do anything that actually supports fascism in any way, besides I guess maybe just if they secretly think that way, and that's really not a problem. But these Palestinian anti-Jewish activists, they are actively at least supporting vocally for genocide against the Jewish people, which is just it's like tell me you're a Nazi without telling me you're a Nazi, right?
Well, that's why the Jewish people are freaking out now.
Yeah,
Jewish students are freaking out at college. The Jews on the left are freaking out about their political alliance.
Yeah, because all the people that they thought were their friends on the left and everything, it turns out they all really hate them. And
they're having the same experience that I had 3 years ago during George Floyd, when I realized all the people on the left that I thought were my friends were not, and saw me as this hateful, evil racist and patriarch. And they're realizing that all of their friends on the left see them as hateful, evil white people and oppressors.
I don't know what's causing this. I don't know how we got here, but it is
ideology and ignorance. And I've been immune to it somehow my whole life, and it really wasn't around where I was growing up. It's mostly a big city phenomenon or west or coastal phenomenon. But I somehow was immune to it, and so were all of my friends. So I don't know how it takes hold in people, not having been exposed to it. But I guess if you are, it seems pretty powerful that it can short circuit your critical thinking faculties.
And if Palestine wasn't a Sharia law run caliphate, maybe I could I could start to like. That was like learning that was one of those things that pushed me all the way the other direction. It's like, so like these poor Palestinian people that you say the Israelis are not imposing Sharia law on them. Like the Israelis aren't doing that. I mean, that is an oppressive system. They are living under something that's probably actually much worse than apartheid. Apartheid is pretty much just segregation. When it comes, it's a little bit worse than that. But I mean, at its core, it's about segregating one type of people from another. I mean, apartheid is bad, but it's not what's happening. What is happening is an oppressive regime that is keeping people like as uneducated and as indoctrinated and as repressed as possible. With what I thought everyone in this country kind of more or less agreed that Sharia law was bad, but I guess not anymore because it's anti-Muslim if you don't like Sharia law or something.
And well, apparently, white colonization is worse.
Right? Yeah. People with less melanin in their skin colonizing any place, very bad. People with a little bit melanin in their skin or more, that's fine though. We don't have a problem with it if the
and this is the latest thing. In a few years, there'll be some other outcry about some other group. But one silver lining, if it is that, is the trans are no longer in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's one thing. It may have broken the left to a degree, or wokeism anyway.
I hope it did. I mean, it was going to happen sooner or later.
I feel like outrage is almost a kink. It's almost a fetish for these people. I feel like, as soon as like they stop getting that rush that they were getting from being outraged, every time they find something else, like it's the only thing that can get them hard, Like,
I was I guess you could call me more of an advocate, but I helped out with the gay rights movement, the marriage
fine.
campaign.
I don't think there's anything wrong
and
with
I didn't do any of this shit. I never had this hostility and hatred. My goal was to win hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And show that I could be like a productive, positive addition to society.
I hate the fact that the term activist has become a dirty word because I don't think there's anything wrong with just basic activism, especially if you're passionate about it and you're doing real common sense things to try to achieve your goals. I think it's great. I think it's kind of stupid to constantly do these dumb marches and protests, which I don't think do any good except for usually make your side look bad and encourage people to act like morons in the street. But if people want to protest, let them protest. I think they have the right to, and I think they should have the right to. I just don't think it's effective. I think that political action and organized political action and education are much better avenues for change. But if people want to do, marches and shit like that, let them do it. I don't care. But as long as it's not like the BLM shit where they're just trashing cities, that's actually peaceful protests. But I don't have a problem with people doing that stuff. But I don't have a problem with people being activists. I'm just talking about but these people, they're not even activists. They're just rageaholics. They're just addicted to being angry about something.
Cluster B.
Cluster B?
It's an outlet for their cluster B.
Cluster B. I've never heard that term before.
The cluster B personality disorders. They've cluster A, B, and C.
I don't know that much about those terms. I'm not super. I know like the dark triad stuff. I know this and that, but I've never.
Cluster B is antisocial personality disorder, which is sociopathy, borderline personality, histrionic personality, and narcissistic personality.
I see it.
They're the disorders characterized by dramatic, impulsive, self-destructive emotional behavior and sometimes incomprehensible interactions with others.
I knew what all these individual things were. I never heard it referred to as cluster B.
Yeah, they grouped them into 3 categories: A, B, and C. And
here's a nice little map.
Like 3 larger categories of features that they have in common within each category.
That's a big cluster. There's a lot of shit in there.
And there's a lot of overlap. Like a lot of borderlines are also narcissists. A lot of narcissists are also sociopaths, etc. Kind of like autism and ADHD.
Makes sense.
So like when Joshua talks about like what apex sociopaths running the world, I'm skeptical of that. I'm not saying they're not up there. I know that the people at the top to get to the top and stay at the top, you pretty much have to be a sociopath. But I don't know that they're all in cahoots together. But the where the sociopaths are coordinating and interacting together are in these activist circles.
Was that Josh
They're
or
not at the
John?
top; they're on the bottom. It's the sociopaths on the bottom that I'm worried about.
Right. Yeah, I was that Joshua? I thought that was John that keeps talking about
John.
talking about the apex, so psychopathy kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really hope some people at least come to their senses sometime soon, but as long as the media keeps playing cover for these terrorists and shit like that, I guess it's not going to change.
People are waking up. I'm seeing a lot of it.
And I'm sure people will, but there's just people that there's those sheep activists that will just follow whatever they.
Yeah, but you're always going to have those. There's always going to be a remnant.
And maybe maybe Paul will come around and other people.
I was about to say it's people like Paul that I want to wake up.
Me too.
But I really do think, like, I trust his intellect. I trust as he gets more information, he will adjust his viewpoint to fit the facts. I want to trust that, like, even Rowan and other people on the left will. They're all very intelligent. They're intelligent enough to do so. Put it that way.
They are. I mean, I don't know. Rowan's got some deep indoctrination that has to be.
I think he has these emotional biases that he can't get. Like, if he takes a position closer to reality, it conflicts emotionally with deeply held values that he has.
Right.
And they're not bad values. Like, I like that there are people out there like growing with these values. I just think they're misapplied.
I agree. I mean, that's how I feel. I mean, I do like the values. I think they're just, like you said, they're misapplied. People aren't understanding. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being compassionate or empathic. I don't think those are bad qualities. I never desired to eradicate the empathy in myself. I think it's ultimately, even though it can be difficult to deal with sometimes, I think it's ultimately it's better to be able to have empathy than not. But if you kind of let your empathy master you instead of you mastering your empathy, it can really lead you into some dark places without you even realizing it, because you end up feeling pain for everyone all the time, all these different things. Every time you see anything that, you feel responsible for it. And, there's an interesting thing, especially coming out of, like, Orthodox, or not Orthodox, but conservative Christian upbringing like I did. There was someone who talked to me at one point. Was at a music festival, and they were explaining their view on Calvinism. John Calvin's famous theologian who believed in predestination, believed that that man did not choose God, but God chose man. And I think there's something philosophically interesting about it in that sense. It's like it's these two entirely different viewpoints on morality in a lot of ways, because if man chooses God, then, and I think you can see this with the leftist versus rightist dynamic kind of thing too, a little bit. See, because if man chooses God, then every single soul that isn't saved, and I'm not saying you have to believe in, like, the salvation part, I'm just saying, but you can look at it from a political perspective too. Every single soul that isn't saved is ultimately on you, because it's your responsibility, because it's your choice, because there's no one else is going to tell the people about Christ or about whatever, about the truth, except for you. So it's entirely on you to do it. However, if man chooses God, if predestination is real, then that takes the pressure off you and allows you to try to live your life the best you can and to do the most you can with, the gifts that God gives you. And it's a really interesting philosophical / theological kind of construct to look at the world through, because if you really do, which I think most leftists do, take this man chooses God type of mentality, they take this viewpoint that it's all up to them, and everyone, these hyper empaths that you see out there anyway, they feel this responsibility to at least feel bad for them, to at least try to, like, you know, speak up or do something, and either on Twitter or whatever, and, you know, because they feel this guilt or this responsibility for it. And being an empathic person, period, it's easy to do that. But I've eventually had to come to, almost, even though I don't necessarily know that I quite believe in predestination in the literal sense, but in a philosophical sense, I do see it as more of like a God chooses man type situation, where, like, not that I am chosen and special, but simply that if in the sense that I'm chosen is that the gifts or the things that I can give to the world are the things that I can give to the world, and it's not my responsibility beyond that than to try to be the best me that I can be, kind of thing, you know. And
It is or it's not.
it's up to me to be the best me I can be, but not up to me to save everyone. It's what I've said before about, like, my philosophy of save the living first. I believe that, you know, it's my responsibility to the degree that I take it on to try to, like, you know, do right by the people around me, by the people that are put in my path. But beyond that, you know, as Christ said, like, to love your neighbor as yourself. My opinion is that neighbor isn't mean your literal neighbor. It just means the people that are in your life. The people that are in your life are the people that you need to love. And anything outside of that is kind of just outside of your purview. You know, you know, as those groups, as your circles, they might get bigger, and you might have more people to, you know, to care about. But it's not your responsibility to go out there and try to save every single soul.
I never thought it
Metaphorically
was.
Well,
I couldn't, even if I did. I
I
try
know.
to save people from their own ignorance all the time, and that never works out.
Yeah. But I think my point is that I think that people like Rowan and even Liberty, what was it? Liberty something?
Liberty Holmes.
Liberty Holmes, yeah. Liberty Holmes and Rowan and even Paul, to a degree, I think they have this kind of, even though they're not out there trying to go and fight for Palestine or something like that, they're not on quite to that degree. But I think there's this element of that philosophy in their mind. It's very similar to the nature versus nurture type thing, right? You know, like, it's if you really believe that nurture is the only thing, then it's up to us to make sure every person is as good as possible, even though it's a mixture of both. So, you know, is it, you know what I mean? It's just like this they feel a responsibility to have the right moral position, because if they don't, it's somehow their fault when things go bad, I think. And if you can get away from that and you realize the only thing you really have to do is to do the best you can with what you have available to you and what you can do in your life, and that's what your responsibility is to society, to the world, to God, or whatever you want to think about it as. It doesn't really matter the actual entity you or egregore, as John would say, that you apply that to, as long as you are doing your best or the most you can to with what you have in front of you, then you are ultimately doing the right thing. And that's how I see it anyway. I'm not sure if that made any sense. Getting used to the Adderall again is making me rambly, so sorry.
Well, you're not any more rambly than you've ever
Than normal.
than you've
I
before.
feel more rambly than normal. My mind is racing like it usually does, but the Adderall does this weird thing where it's like, even though my mind is moving just as fast as normal, it's also a little bit more in focus, so I can kind of understand my thoughts better than normal. But it kind of comes out of I feel like it comes out of my mouth like my mouth is getting dry just from like. But anyway, it's just day 2. It'll even out in about 2 or 3 days. It just takes some time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a permanent state. It just happens when you first.
I mean, it's nothing. I don't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Good. I'm glad it's not noticeable to anybody else. I notice it because it's probably just paranoia in my own head. But yeah. Anyway,
like you're not talking any more than you normally do.
Like, I sat here after we ended our stream. I was about to go to bed, and then Jack called me, and I ended up talking to Jack for a while. And while I was doing it, I was kind of unconsciously just like, there's a pile of clothes in my bed that need to be folded, and I don't know what the hell I was doing, because I wasn't paying any attention to what I was doing with my hands, and I was talking with the headset, and then by the time I got off the phone, I was just like, I was looking around. I just had no idea. I had clothes everywhere, and I don't know what I was doing with any of it. It's just like it's like a
Are y'all
crack on
gonna
the frog.
start a streaming show?
We thought about like doing like once a week, doing like something late night, just about all the crazy conspiracy stuff. Just trying to
Ugh.
like just trying to like give a pressure release valve for some of that from this show, so we don't have to so we have a place to put that stuff at, because there's a lot of people that want to talk about that stuff, and I know we don't want to. And I'm with you on that, by the way. I don't think that we should. I don't want this to become conspiracy stream central. I don't want that to be that. I like the focuses we have on kind of mental health, community building stuff, and politics, and I like those things. I do like your perspective on the community. I think you have a valuable. I like your perspective on the conspiracy stuff because I think it's valuable to have someone like yourself who's so anti-conspiracy and also, kind of forces the logical part of it, pushes back against it. I think that's really valuable, but I don't want to overwhelm this stream with that stuff either. So we were just talking about trying to do something to talk about some of the crazier ideas we have and stuff like that, just to keep them from one from taking over the other, Because me and him both talked about maybe going on and doing it on just talking about stuff on TML's stream, but TML he just hasn't figured out how to get the right balance between the conversation and the trolling yet.
It can get chaotic.
Well,
There's another guy. I watched Flow State's stream last night, and it was really nice. There were like 8 or 9 people on it. They were talking philosophy and all kind of deep concepts. It was really nice.
Channel.
And everybody was respectful and letting each other talk. In fact, Flo didn't have to do anything. He was like in the background playing on his phone the whole time. So that was a nice stream to visit.
What upset me most about last Tuesday's stream from TML, or last Wednesday, I guess Wednesday it was that they had this really nice panel on there. I was just watching for the longest time. I wasn't feeling that good that night, so I was just like laying there and watching it or listening to it mostly. And there was a girl that's usually in the comments on his stream that, because he had that Muslim guy. I didn't really like him that much. The previous
something
guy,
unslaved or something. Omar,
yeah, but he was being really reasonable. He wasn't being like angry like he had been the previous time. He was being really reasonable and cool, and he actually was being really open to talking to people about things, and people were kind of asking him questions about Islam and stuff, and he was giving really intelligent answers, and I was really enjoying it. And then this girl that's usually in the comments there, I can't remember which one, but she was like, she the first time she'd ever called into any stream, and she was really nervous, but she was so excited to try to she really wanted to talk to Omar. She wanted to ask him a question about Islam and give her perspective from a Christian, as a Christian. And it was a really, really great, interesting conversation. And then for some reason, like one of the commenters / mods that TML has, that he apparently, according to him, is one of his most trusted people, is Illumitami was on the panel, but Illumitami wasn't talking shit. He wasn't causing any trouble. He wasn't being a troll in any way. He was like very rarely saying anything. He was just like making a comment here and there, and the comments he made were pretty actually intelligent. He was productive. But then Kim Before the Storm, to someone that apparently, according to the Machine Lies, is one of the most trustworthy, most best people ever, came on and derailed the entire rest of the stream by just coming on and harassing Tommy the whole time, just being like, to try and like, why won't you show your military records? Why don't you do this? And just, it was for no reason.
While she was talking?
While she was having this conversation, he came on, TML brought him on, and he just starts like berating Illumitami for no reason. I'm serious. There was zero reason for it. Tommy hadn't said anything out of pocket. He wasn't being a jerk. He wasn't doing anything. But Kim just, for some reason, just decided to come on, just start harassing him about something that seriously nobody gives a fuck about. It had nothing to do with the conversation until like the girl, she left. Omar left. Every intelligent, interesting person on the panel
I leave too when that happens.
And I don't understand. And there was no point in it. It wasn't entertaining. It'd be one thing if it was like entertaining. Occasionally, TBE has been entertaining. I don't like him. I don't appreciate that kind of shit, but I can see how it could draw viewers or something because of the drama and stuff like that. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand it. With this was supposedly something that was like one of TML's best friends on the stream, someone who said it was loyal to him the whole time, and all this shit. And honestly, if it had been me, it wouldn't matter how loyal this guy had been. I would have banned him from my show. He never would have been left back on. That would have been it. He would have been permanently banned. I would never have, because it was no cause for it. And he wasn't trolling Machine. He was trolling just another panel member who was behaving himself. You know, if someone's on the panel and they're behaving themselves and they're actually interjecting occasionally something entertaining, even if it's a joke or something, but he was making good points. He wasn't, I mean, they weren't maybe points I agreed with, but they were intelligent, thought out things, and it wasn't bullshit. And the whole stream was going so great. It was like an hour and a half of really good conversation. And then as soon as Kim came on, and then another friend of his came on too, and it was just two people 2-on-1 against Tommy, just like berating him for no reason. And like, I guess Tommy did something to piss them off in the past. Who cares? It had nothing to do with then. And I don't know, it pissed me off. And I told TML about it. I was like, dude, like, why would you let that happen? Like, you had such a good stream. It was one of the better streams I've seen, period. One of the best conversations I've seen, period. And like, I was like, if I were you, I would have kicked both Tommy, Kim, anybody associated with it. I would kick them out and told them they can come back next stream or something. He's like, no, man, Kim's a good guy. He's stuck with me through this and that. I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're a good guy if they're derailing your fucking show. Like, I mean, that's fine that you're loyal and shit, but sometimes people just need to shut the fuck up. You know?
He has different priorities, I guess.
He does have different priorities, and like, that's fine. I mean, it's whatever. I just think it's a shame because he has such an interesting, he's a really diverse and interesting intellectual base of viewers that people that call in, and it really does bring in some interesting viewpoints and stuff like that. And then, you know, when you see something like that, I stopped watching it. I didn't even watch the rest of the stream. I turned it off and I turned something else on and went to sleep. It depressed me. And then this last week, it was just that last week, it never even got good. It never had a chance to, because TBE and whoever else and Smith and somebody else were on there just fucking like.
I can't be on there with Smith.
Yeah.
Nobody can have a conversation with him on.
I don't.
Just word salads for hours and hours and hours and hours nonstop.
Mm-hmm. And I know what happened because he was in the chat just like harassing, constantly being like, yeah, TML says that everybody's welcome, but he just puts me backstage. And he said that enough times, so finally TML like let him on. And of course, he just derailed the whole thing further.
That's the problem, is everybody's welcome. Everybody's not welcomed on here. If there's people I don't like, Toilet Bowl's not coming on here.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I definitely have people that I don't want on here that will not be welcomed.
Here's the thing, though, and this is what I said to him on his Discord the other day. I said, you know, Walmart, you know, here's a store, or Target, any kind of department store, anything like that. Anyone's welcome to go in there. It doesn't matter what you are, what you look like, what your opinions are. You're welcome to go in. But if you go in and start screaming at people, especially the staff, they will remove you. It doesn't mean that they're censoring you or taking away your free speech. It just means that you're an asshole and you have to be removed. That's all that happens. You can have it open to everybody. Give them a chance. Let them come on. If they start being dicks, get rid of them. It's the way it works everywhere. Everywhere works that way. It doesn't, just because people are, and it's one thing if it's entertaining or something, it's like the drama thing, like you're saying, where you get the popcorn out. I get that. You know, sometimes maybe that could be good, but none of these recent ones have been good. They've all been just more or less depressing, to be honest. Jack just sent me a link. He says that we should play some of this on the show, starting at 20 minutes at 1.5 speed. Okay, that's weird. I put the link in the
I don't want to play Jason Giorgiani.
Okay, I don't know anything about him, so I've never heard these names before. He's
kind of extreme.
Okay, that's fine. Jack just sent me the link just now. He said he's at the dentist, so.
Oh, okay.
I guess he's listening to us at the dentist.
Yeah, I don't want to give Giorgiani any airtime.
What is he pro-Palestine, pro-Israel, so the Israel-Palestine thing.
No, he's like an alt-right, extreme alt-right
Okay.
figure.
Well, I generally do trust Jack's opinion on things, but
Nationalist.
if he's super, I'm assuming there's something interesting about it, but I'll check it out later.
And
Cans start around 20
I
minutes
support
long.
free speech too, but this is not. I will kick anybody out if they're messing up my show or getting on my nerves. Like this is not. This is my channel, and I'm gonna cultivate it like I see fit
Absolutely.
because I have a
I mean,
larger
I
goal
agree.
with it. And if people are interfering with that, I will kick them, and they can cry free speech all they want.
Which is the right way to do it, I think. I mean, you don't even have to, I don't think there's anything anti-free speech about kicking someone off because they're just being a loud, obnoxious asshole. People get kicked out of bars for the same thing. Are they being censored? No, they're just being kicked out because they're being loud, obnoxious assholes. You know, it's just
There's
can
plenty of.
get
I don't know if you
arrested
heard. I don't know if you heard me. You had gotten kicked off earlier, but I apparently TikTok has this huge live stream community. There's at
it
any
just
given
started
hour
up
of the day,
recently.
you can browse all these live streams. And Andrew from the Crucible has been like dropping in stream bombing the different.
Mhm.
He'll just scroll through and find conversations and get on their stream and start debating with them.
Mhm.
I'm really not motivated to create a TikTok account or start getting into that world, but I do know that there's probably thousands of potential audience on that platform.
No, I mean, we
It
can
makes what
definitely,
we're seeing, like what we're doing here, it makes it seem very, very small.
right. No, I would say that actually, and we've had a few episodes lately that we could probably cut out like little minute clip from, start putting some clips from it up on TikTok. That might help build some audience, and we could do some live streaming on TikTok. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, you can't really do. You can't. I don't think we can do a 2-person live stream on TikTok, but either one of us
Yeah,
can
you
do
can.
it. Oh, yeah. You can. I don't
Just
know. I thought
TikTok
was always, like,
TikTok
oh,
has a live streaming feature. It wouldn't be
Can
through
you-
StreamYard. It would be on TikTok.
Can you do it through a website, or does that have to be on the phone?
I think you can do it through their website.
He said.
I don't like stream on my phone. Most people don't.
Jack said Giorgiani is pro-Israel, anti-Hamas. Okay. I don't know.
But he's also an alt-right ethno-nationalist.
Fair enough. I'm just telling you what Jack said. I'm not. I've never heard.
Yeah,
of him
they have a
person or
live
anything.
stream page, and you can just browse. There's just a ton of people sitting in front of their computer streaming, just like we are. It's like infinite, and you can drop it on their streams, just like here. It's like a built-in StreamYard feature in TikTok, and you get the advantage of TikTok's millions of audience members.
Well, I mean, they still have to find your stream and click on it, right?
Well, it's algorithm.
Oh, right.
I had a friend that had a community that she's been promoting for years, and she made like 1-minute little TikTok videos and started putting them on TikTok, and she started getting her community grew like overnight. She started getting like hundreds of people discovering her because the TikTok feeds your video to the people that are looking for that content, and so it knows how to connect it to the people that are wanting exactly what you're trying to offer.
Trying to think of some specific like moments from some of the last few streams we've done. We've had some really good ones. I'm just trying to think of but our conversations tend to become long form, and I don't know how well they're going to translate to shortening like that. But I could try to find some clips and
YouTube. I think it lets you make clip. I think I have it set where you can make clips yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have like add-ons for YouTube anyway where I can do that, but I'm just saying like I just download the video and then go into Premiere and clip it. But I just have to figure out.
Yeah, I do have.
I just have to find the clips.
So
that's the problem.
people can clip anything they want from my videos.
Yeah, I just got to find the good clips to get. I know like we've had so many good streams lately, but I can't think of anything. I'm blank right now on the top of my head.
Well, maybe what we can do is put some clips on TikTok and try to get an audience there, and try to
That's what I
try
mean.
to get them over here. based on the
Yeah.
clips, and then if we get enough of them over here, we can start streaming on TikTok.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I meant like just take some clips from our streams, such as some of the good moments that we can just put up on there. I don't know, maybe a couple of those shows.
That's
that
what
we
my
did with,
friend
like,
did.
Rowan.
She
Yeah.
put little 1-minute clips on TikTok just talking about her topic of her
We can make
special
some
input.
YouTube shorts too. That'll also get us boosted the algorithm. Just make a just
out
get
of the
some
live
clips.
streams, like just clip them into shorts.
Because all you have to do to make a short is you just have to re-justify it with a phone. Can you it wouldn't matter for old live streams, but can you make it where our two windows are on top of each other instead of next to each other? Because I wonder if that'd make it easier to clip into a phone format type thing. Because it has to be in that format.
Let me see what my options are. That. No, those are the only options. I can maybe. I wonder if I can put you on top, drag you on top. No, it only lets me do horizontal. Oh wait, there's more. Hang on. That. Oh, that's when the presentation. Nope. Looks like these are the options. This is the best layout.
Oh, I got a phone call.
Hang on, I just messed up my It did something to my. Now it's cutting off half my stream. Fuck. What did it do? I might have to refresh my browser. Hang on. Okay. It messed up my layout. I had to reset it. All right, he's on the phone. And then I don't know what kind of audience would come from TikTok either. All the TikToks I see don't seem like my crowd at all. It's a possibility. I just do this for. It's just a hobby. I do it for fun. I like talking to the people. I don't know if I'm looking for thousands of people to come on here. Well, I got to pee. Maybe I'll play a little bit of music and come back. Let's see. Leave you with a song. Okay, we're going to take a short little intermission, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. That's you. What is that? What's you? On the song? Ja. Oh. On the phone? Oh, Lindsay's saying that's her, but I don't know what that means. All right, let me check Twitter again. And YouTube. Andrew's still on TikTok. Yeah, let me I don't think he'll mind if I show a little clip. This is what it looks like. Hang on, I gotta fix my settings.
Can't. It's the worst logic ever.
I'm gonna ask the question again. You're not answering. I'm gonna ask the question again.
See, this is the TikTok live stream. I don't know if Andrew's on it or he's commenting on it, but he
there's
tries.
Males without male chromosomes. See what? That's a continuum fallacy. That's a continuum fallacy.
He's not. I don't think he's on the stream yet. Zen Shapiro is. This conversation is boring to me. I could care less about gender anymore. Oh, on the song? That's Lindsay on the song? The voice?
What song?
Yoda demo?
Yeah, that's her. That's her.
Oh.
She's the verse. She has the verse. Yeah, that's her.
Cool.
She's on 2 or 3 songs. I think just 2. She's on that one. The one called No, there's 3 songs she's on. Just 2 or 3 of those. I don't remember. She's on one called Brand New Heresy, and one called Yoda. Yep, that's the 2. What do you think of the little like secret society symbol thing I drew? Did you look at it?
Oh yeah, no, it's cool.
It's
I like
it's supposed to. I mean, it took me a long time to refine it to something that's simple. It used to be a lot more complicated.
I can see it as working as a logo on something.
Yeah, it's super simple to be like, you know, something that looks like it could be replicated easily, but I don't know. That was just a crude mock-up I did it threw together last night. It's not perfectly symmetrical or anything it's supposed to be. Let me see. Yeah, I got a call from like an ENT I put a call into earlier, and they were just telling me like, no, we don't have any options for, you know, if you want to come see us, it's going to be $350 up front. I'm just like, oh, okay, thanks.
Bye.
Yep.
Do they have
very-
like
it's very
community
nice.
clinics or?
Yeah, there's lots of clinics like that, but none of them have ENT doctors working there.
So where do poor people that need ENT care go?
Parkland, but you have to wait for half a year. So
Oh, okay. That's the best they can do.
it's the best I can find so far. I mean, granted, like I said, there are hundreds of ENT doctors, so and you can only make so many phone calls a day. But
And the only reason you want it sooner is to get a diagnosis for your disability claim.
well, no, I would like to get. I'd hopefully get like a diagnosis that maybe could help stop the vertigo. That would be the ideal thing. But yes, if I could get it sooner, then I could at least get something on record. I get a diagnosis or something so that I could actually take something to the disability thing. But yeah,
See
at
if
this
your
point,
lawyer
I'm
can
probably
help.
gonna-
See if your lawyer can help you. I honestly don't think you're going to get disability.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Can you plug it in? Yeah, I don't think so either. And I don't know. The lawyer told me that they should have set up a doctor's appointment for one of their doctors to examine me, but they never did. So they just rejected it outright.
Why not?
They set up one for Lindsay, but they never set up one for me.
Well, get them to set one up for you.
I've requested it several times, and they just don't ever respond.
Well, keep bugging them till they respond.
Yeah, I mean,
You're paying them, right?
Oh, the lawyers? I'm not talking about the lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the disability. It has to be disabilities, like disability.
Oh, the disability. But
SSI.
can your lawyer get one set up for you through
I've
them?
asked them to. They said that they put the request in, but getting a hold of my lawyers is actually harder than getting a hold of Social Security people. So,
Wow.
I mean, I'm not paying them up front or anything. They're only getting paid if the disability claim goes through. So I guess it's in their best interest to make sure it works, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a lot of work for them they're putting a lot of work into it. So anyway,
Like if your whole claim hinges on this one diagnosis and you haven't been diagnosed with it yet, how are they going to win the case if they can't?
Well, it
help
doesn't
you get
hinge on that.
diagnosed?
I mean, I have a lot of doctor's records before that, from when I went and talked to the neurologist and the thing like that. The Meniere's disease is something I've just been researching lately. I have no idea about it, but I'm just trying to look for anything to kind of bolster that chance. I mean, even if I got disability, it wouldn't be a lot of money. It's not like it wouldn't like solve all of our problems or anything, but it would be a little bit of extra cash that would help us get by. But I'm not super. I don't really have my hopes up about it. Lindsay will get disability as soon as she gets her hearing. She has schizophrenia. It's schizoaffective disorder. It's been diagnosed several times, so she's fine. But it's just going to take to getting the hearing. But that'll be another 6 months. So anyway, it's not worth talking about anymore. Tired of thinking about it. Yeah. I feel weird today. Getting back on this medication just makes me feel so odd.
You want to take a break? We got the show coming up in an hour.
That's true. Yeah. Why don't we just go and take a break and we'll reconvene in an hour for True Detective, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
All right, man. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Take care. Okay. Well, that's our show for today. Not much going on, which can be good news of its own. We'll be back tomorrow, probably roughly the same time. Just check the YouTube. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, and talk to you later.